Hello, everybody. Um, we are live, and I hope everything is working out fine. So, if the people in the chat can give us a signal if everything is working, that would be great. But this is our very first live stream, so we're all a little bit excited and seeing how things are working out technically. So, in case there is any kind of trouble during the stream at any point, just write it down in the chat and we will make sure to get things fixed as quickly as possible. But I see here things are working. Great. Also, you are very free to ask any kinds of questions in the chat if anything comes up. So that will be very nice to know if you have anything popping up in your minds. I see there's people from the Netherlands there, people from Colombia. Beautiful. So to start, I would like to show you guys our guests, and we have multiple guests here, and we are streaming countries right now, and that is me in Germany. Then we have Laisvie, who is in the Netherlands right now.
Hello, hello.
And then we have the rest of ConCuerpos in Colombia. So there they are. Say hello. Nice. So, we will just be talking a little bit first about who is ConCuerpos and what is ConCuerpos doing. If you guys have seen already our videos over the last weeks, that we did together with Laisvie already, talking about ConCuerpos and the work that they're doing in the inclusive field and the importance as well that all this work has in the field of dance, the field of art in general, and in our society. Now, if you watched that, you already know a little bit who Laisvie is, but in case you didn't watch it, I would like to give Laisvie introduce herself quickly, a little bit about ConCuerpos to start.
Hola, hola, quienes nos escuchan desde Latinoamérica, Colombia. My name is Laisvie, and I'm the director of Con Cuerpos. Con Cuerpos is an inclusive dance company from Colombia. That means that we work with artists that have disabilities and don't have disabilities. And now we are creating a really exciting new work, and that's why we are having this conversation tonight. Yes, back in Bogota. And I also want to tell you that ConCuerpos also develops educational projects. So we have a class in Bogota, we have a teacher training workshop every year, and we do different workshops all the time. We also have a research area, and we have published a couple of books in this field of inclusive dance. And because today we're going to focus more on our artistic work, I also wanted to share with you a little bit of how our dance classes look like. So we have a small clip about our class that Jacob can share.
Yes, let's share that. There we go.
Yeah, so you see that our class is open to everyone. It's like the first space in Bogota that offers an education for people with and without disabilities. And we have different teachers every month. We have sign language interpretation, and it's is our core, I would say. It's the core of ConCuerpos, is where we meet everyone, is where we develop the relationships, and where we have our most important practice.
Nice.
Yes.
Beautiful. Nice. Um, to me as well, there's the whole aspect of this is really beautiful as it's not just about creating shows, but as well about changing something in society, let's say. And for that, classes are a very structural element. I see to that as well. Nice. Um,
Yes, and also there are just a few places where you can study dance professionally, but mainly most of the dancers train in different academies, in different studios, and still we don't have this inclusivity everywhere. So for us, this is very important to say, hey, this is a space where the best teachers of the city are invited to offer workshops, and they are also learning how to make their classes accessible and
yeah,
inclusive for everyone.
beautiful. Now, you are working in creation right now as well. And we have the company itself and the current choreographer of the current part as a guest here as well. So I would like to welcome all of you guys as well and give you the word to quickly introduce yourself a little and tell us a little bit about this project right now.
Well, I guess, hello everybody. My name is Valerie Green, and I'm happy to be invited here to work with Con Cuerpos. And I'm coming from New York City, and I have a company and a venue there. And I'm with the dancers in the piece, David and Ilsa. And we have been working since Monday so far, and I was given the theme of their project, which is Ira, meaning rage. And so I guess I share now a little bit about the process.
Mhm.
And
Please.
okay, so in advance of coming, I thought a lot and prepared many different experiences to do, experiences or exercises or processes that are creating movement. And the intention of all of these experiences were to explore the feelings of rage in each dancer based on their own life experiences. So this week we did, I don't know, I'm not sure how many, but many different processes to develop and create movement. And it was important to me that the movement was coming from their own perspective of their emotions and their own bodies. And this whole week was about creating a palette of material that was really connected to them. And I also sent many writing prompts in advance so the dancers they had very specific questions to write about. And this was also material for the work. So today I put a basic structure together, but all this material was being developed over the week. And we've been working very hard. And many different ways of looking at rage, about rage in one's lifetime, their experiences, and then bringing that into a creative force to be presented on the stage. And I guess that's a little bit of an intro into it. I don't know if you wanted to show a clip now or hear a little bit from the dancers, but at this point in the process, we have a structure that is about 25 minutes. We just ran through it for the first time. I think it's a little bit over what I was supposed to do. And we are working on the music now as well, and also a visual video component.
Nice.
So I can go deeper into if you have certain questions, but I don't know if you want to show a clip or have the dancers say anything at this point.
I would like to load in one of the clips for a moment to give our audience as well a bit of an idea of the things that you guys are doing in the space. And let's start with this clip here, for example. And let's take a look at it. And if you guys have something to tell about this clip, both you, Valerie, as well as our two dancers that are with us, that we can see as well in the clip, it would be beautiful to hear some further insights on that.
Feel that like you're basking in the sun.
Sure, I can set it up and then they can add in what they like. There's moments towards the end of the dance that are about the opposite of rage. And this was coming out of a exercise that I was calling a yes duet. And it really changed a lot in the process, but there's many moments that were about finding support and basically support and a yes to life and certain things that were important to each dancer. And maybe they would like to add in a bit from here.
Well, hi, my name is David Bernal. I'm from Bogota, Colombia. And I think that in this moment, this specific moment is very intimate because we investigate a lot of rage, and in this moment we try to move to the other side of rage that we think is love or something like that. And that was very grateful with Hilse work in this piece because we feel some kind of calm or um, yes, some kind of calm in our rage, our personal rage, to get more together, more relaxing or more the anxiety get down, and we are more united together.
Hola, soy Hilse Léon de Venezuela.
So hi, I'm going to translate for Ilse quickly. So hi, my name is Ilse. I'm from Venezuela. So hi, my name is Ilse. I'm from Venezuela.
Son momentos muy especiales durante la obra, durante el performance, porque convocan la emoción contraria a la ira. Entonces fueron momentos creados desde un lugar muy fino, muy delicado.
So these moments are expressing something opposite to rage. So they are very delicate and very sensitive, and they are being created from a very intimate place.
Para mí como intérprete no es la mayoría de los momentos de la obra, del performance, y eso se me hace muy interesante, como convocar esa emoción durante el proceso de escuchar y de hablar acerca de la ira.
And for her, it's quite interesting to have also these opposite feelings during the performance, how to listen and how to interact with those more calm moments.
Y es un trabajo muy retador para el intérprete, llegar a esa emoción con la calidad, con la sensación, con la autenticidad, que ha sido una palabra que ha definido mucho el proceso.
And it has been a big challenge to arrive to that feeling from an honest place and from a word that has been describing the process, which is...
Porque ha sido una premisa muy importante para Valerie ser auténtico en la emoción y desde ese lugar generar el movimiento.
So it has been very important for Valerie to be quite authentic and honest with that emotion and to come to those places from a very honest place.
And it was always my intention with this piece to work through the rage and then get to the other side of it so that there can be like this softer, more peaceful place. And that small moment there is very near to the end. And what it took to get to that moment was a whole process of many things that are no longer there. And also in that moment is a motif that I've been sprinkling throughout the dance, which is a little bit of the a Colombian cumbia moment. And so there's moments where it's come into a different distortion throughout the dance as a motif. And that's actually inside that intimate moment there as well.
Nice. That's super interesting. Now, from what I understood about you as a choreographer as well, and from the work that you're doing as well in the States, is that in the direction of the work that you do, you're also there working a lot with different social groups, and now you're working here with an inclusive dance company, obviously. What was for you the motivation to specify really into that field? As I think it's super important that this work is being done, and I would like to shine a bit of a light onto that and the importance of it as well. So how did you go into that direction in your work?
Well, in New York, I've been working. I've worked with a lot of autistic adults, also people with different abilities and wheelchairs, and at-risk youth, trauma survivors, senior citizens. So it's always been a very large component of my organization to do this outreach work. And so it was really exciting to have this opportunity to make dance for the stage with an inclusive dance company, because in the past, in working in inclusive environments, it's been in a workshop and not making a final work for the stage. Exciting to take movement to the stage, and it's been an amazing process. They're both amazing and courageous and taking a lot of risk, and finding trust in me and each other to explore. And it's the challenge has been interesting to make the work accessible for people that can't see or can't hear. So I've enjoyed the challenge to think on multiple levels at the same time to make sure that all areas are addressed, so that the piece can be cohesive to anybody that is coming to the performance to experience it.
Yeah.
And so I feel grateful to have this challenge to make a work for the stage and to think so broadly to appeal to so many people.
What was really interesting for me when I was first getting in touch with Laisvie after she contacted us was this step of thinking further and considering the audience into the whole equation, to not just create a show with people with disabilities, but to also think about the audience and, okay, how can I create something that is accessible for the audience as well, be they in a wheelchair or for blind people or for deaf people. And this step of thinking further, I think, is really fascinating and wonderful that it's happening. Just to put that out there again. Now, I would like to know from both Hilse or David a little bit how you came to Con Cuerpos as a company, and how you came to dance.
I think David should tell the story because it's a funny story.
Well, it's a long story, but I'm going to try to resume. Is one day I went to the street and so far, and Laisvie come to me running and exhausting, and she invited to me to dancing, but in that time I really don't care about dancing. I study philosophy,
Mhm.
so a lot of time I was in my mind, I think, try to reading a lot and teaching and writing. But after that moment with Laisvie, I want to do something different or about something different to thinking. I really want to investigate in my body,
Yeah.
and I searched some, the library and the workshop, and it was fun. Since the first day, I think I really enjoyed being dancing, and it was very amazing. Since then, I have been here dancing for about 4 years. I think that's the story. I think.
Yeah, it was a funny story because I think when I saw you in the street and when I approached you in the street, you were like, yeah, dancing, not so much. And then many years happened, you know, like it was many years after that you joined the class, right? And then immediately we were like, yeah, well, you're joining the class and you're also joining the company. And very quickly, you started also to be part of the creations. Um, and it has been amazing to see you grow as a dancer and little by little become more interested into research also in your own movement, in your own possibilities, and to, yeah, to open a personal research on dance.
Eh, Creo que las técnicas de Andrea son muy especiales y muy finas.
Yeah, so Ilse is saying that my approach is very special and very fine.
En mi caso, yo estuve primero enseñando la compañía, compartiendo unos talleres con los bailarines.
So Ilse first, I first invited Ilse to teach some workshops for the companies because we also have a program to, you know, to develop the company. So we have laboratories specifically for the dancers of the company. And then Ilse was invited to that last year to teach Pilates because she's a great Pilates teacher and also to teach improvisation.
Entonces una noche me llamó y me dijo, bueno, vamos a hablar acerca de tus honorarios profesionales y del proyecto que vamos a bailar el año que viene. Y yo le dije, sí, sí, está bien. Y cuando colgué el teléfono dije, ¿cómo que voy a bailar con cuerpos? ¿En qué momento me convenció? Y fue así de rápido.
And then after I just gave her a call and I was like, okay, yeah, well, it was great having you this year as a teacher, but next year we want you as a dancer. And she was like, yes, of course. And she's a super busy woman. She's teaching everywhere and doing many projects. So she was like, oh, when I'm going to find the time. But she found the time, and it's great to have her in the company because she has a lot of experience and is a great component to the company. Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful. I would like to show another clip quickly from the process and from what you guys are working on at the moment. There's another one that you had sent to me. Let's go with this one for a moment. There we
Can you
go.
just take a little more time when you get up there before you use your legs?
So if there
The
are
legs
things
are
that you
really
can
important.
tell about what we are seeing in this clip, that would be great to put some context.
Yes. Well, I have I have names for every moment in the dance, and we call this the love duets, just because it's like right before the end of the dance, and it was working with, first of all, from the writing prompts. I can't remember what the exact question was, but there was different words. Do you remember what the prompt was on this one?
The opposite to rage.
That maybe it was about the opposite of rage. Words. Sorry.
Gozo, suavidad, serenidad, ternura.
Well, yeah, what words do they think of that are the opposite of rage? So in this duet, I took Ilse's words, and the movement was made based on the words that were the opposite of rage and taking into account different weight sharing. And there's a lot of risk in this duet as you continue to watch. It's very challenging what they're doing, as you'll continue to see. And this is a moment of finding the opposite of rage, and we call it the love duet. And Um, we're still, smoothing out the edges of it. And you could see they have to move very slow here because there's exciting things happening, like a penché on a wheel, someone sitting in a wheelchair. There's a lot of balance involved here, and a lot of trust and a lot of courage, as I mentioned earlier. And actually this duet was even made on the very first day of meeting, which is kind of amazing. And it's, I think, one of the really special moments in the dance. And all the material of the whole entire dance was made from these processes of digging into emotions. I don't know if there's more of the clip to play there or if it's stalled, but it'd be great if the clip can keep going. And
The clip keeps going.
oh, okay, maybe it's just frozen here. So the intention was to take the dancers more or less through a psychological process of exploring their own rage and what is on the other side. So it's been a very, I think it would be good for the dancers to speak about this and an intense process. And maybe Hilse would like to comment on that.
Sí, se me hace muy interesante, Andrea, y sí me gustaría que fuese como muy preciso con esto, que Valerie empezó a detonar el proceso antes de conocernos.
So Ilse saying that something that has been very important is that Valerie started to create the piece even before they met.
Nos mandó una serie de preguntas relacionadas con la ira y siento que detonó ya ahí en mí como intérprete, no sé el caso de David, empezó como a abrir puertas del cuerpo relacionadas con la ira. Las preguntas eran muy personales.
So she sent them questions, these prompts that Valerie was saying, and Ilse shares that they were very intimate and they opened loads of very personal questions about rage and the opposite of rage. So it was a very personal approach.
Pero las preguntas estaban muy bien dirigidas y en algún momento yo decía, como una mujer que no me conoce, yo le puedo hablar a este nivel de sinceridad de procesos tan íntimos relacionados con una emoción tan fuerte.
So for Ilse, the question was like, how can I explain to a person that I don't know all these experiences related to this difficult feeling of rage and all these personal experiences that I have related to that feeling? How can I share this with this person that I still don't know?
Entonces, cuando nos encontramos por primera vez en el salón de ensayo, era como si hubiésemos tenido alguna relación atrás. Yo siento como intérprete que se abre una puerta muy particular, muy poderosa para la creación por esa comunicación a través de cartas, más sumamente poético que haya sido así.
So she feels that thanks to this beautiful communication through letters that has a poetic component to it, they build a relationship. So the first day that they met in the studio, they had a history together. They knew about each other. It was not like, it was, they had something in common. They have shared.
Ha sido muy intenso, ha sido un proceso muy intenso, se convoca una emoción dura, se ha trabajado en silencio las 8 horas, eso para mí también ha sido muy definitorio el proceso.
It has been a very intense process also because they are addressing this feeling of rage. They have been working in silent for the 8 hours. They work every day. And that also has been a challenge for Ilse.
Sí, varios momentos del proceso lloré ahí delante de mis compañeros y les dije, no puedo más, me voy. Valerie, muy comprensiva de la emoción, me dejaba, venía, pero sí, ha sido un proceso muy duro, pero muy bien dirigido. O sea, Valerie ha sido muy precisa, no deja la energía, la atrapa, la lleva y se da la construcción muy directa.
So Ilse is sharing that in many occasions she has burst into tears. She just needed to take a moment for herself and cry.
I can
So
imagine.
it has been, tough and challenging, but Valerie has been very precise and very specific, and she takes the energy and she really directs the energy. So everything, it has been like an arrow, is what I feel.
Nice, beautiful.
Entonces, ha sido ir muy, muy, muy adentro para construir algo hacia afuera. Ha sido un viaje muy particular.
So it has been a deep travel to the inside to build something that goes outside.
Nice. There are a few questions in the chat happening here right now. And
David, want to share?
David?
I would like to ask one question to David, as there's the question, what is it like to dance in a wheelchair and what are the difficulties? As I can imagine, that is a question that many people that are not used to this inclusive work might ask this question. And how is it for you? And how do you dance with a wheelchair?
How do I dance? I don't know. I mean, being in a wheelchair for me is be capable to mm, dominar, I don't know, move the the wheelchair really good. You know, that
Mm,
was from the beginning. So I think that I move myself in a wheelchair very well.
mm,
That was, I think, the first step. The other step is like a static step, yes, dancing, and is try to be more soft with the movements, you
mm,
know. And the third step, I think, is try to uh, feel a lot of sensation and try to move my wheelchair with that sensations.
mm,
And I think in this process with Valerie, is there a fourth step? I think it's more technical, more precise. Is a movement not too much intuitive. I mean, it's more, yeah, it's intuitive movement, but at the same time is
Very
clear,
clear.
very clear and concrete. Yeah,
mm.
I think that is the process. I mean, that is some kind of process that moving in a wheelchair, but at the same time is something. It's weird, but it's a different process. I don't have the same kind of body that Ilse
Yeah.
is other body, and it's a body that always have to or I need always search what
Mm,
is my style of movement or
yeah.
my abilities to do some kind of movements or
Mm,
Pero Valeria ha propiciado que esos dos tipos de cuerpos diferentes se encuentren. O sea, ella con la danza, con su lenguaje, ha hecho que los cuerpos hagan así.
So Valerie has managed to find a way for these two different bodies to meet and to come together.
Yeah, and I think part of what David might be trying to describe that in this being specific and intuitive, a lot of it is with like a rhythm of time. And even though we're working in silence now, and it may have driven them a little bit crazy, but like if someone is being touched, there's the amount of time that you touch them. There's the amount of time when it's the right moment to touch them, when it's the right moment to move the arm. So like and my dancers in New York know this too. Every single moment matters. Like every single moment matters, the rhythm, the timing, the intention. And that I've been very clear that all the material that's been developed is coming from a very deep place. And the importance of the intention of the process being maintained in every moment so that it is authentic. And this is how I work in general and how I create movements. And so I think this has been a challenge for them, but also a good learning experience to find matters, and that it's kind of like the glue that puts everything together. So I think that's a little bit of what he might be explaining. And also that David is half of the dance outside of the chair as well. So he's not always in the chair. And I want to say, like, I've seen them both grow so much, and I think I've really challenged what David can do in and out of the chair, and see him grow tremendously just in 5 days, and you seeing his sensation and time and energy and dynamic and just like coming alive. I hope that and then also for Ilsa in the way in like I have the ability to see what someone is capable of, and being able to lovingly sort of rise them up to the level that I know that they can achieve, whether it's resting inside them or whether it's new, and to raise them up to be like the most that they can be in the moment. And I think some of this process is kind of digging into those places as performers to allow their technical abilities or emotional or sensation to kind of to rise to the level that I know is in them, and so that it can just, you know, that they can be sharing it with the audience in the world. So it's part of the process.
Nice.
Para mí, como espectadora, cuando Valerie está con David, es como si ella lo hubiese enseñado a hablar con las manos, solo con sus manos.
So when Ilse watches Valerie direct David, it's like she's teaching him, or she has taught him how to speak with his hands, con las manos de él.
Sí, o sea, se ha enfocado mucho en el trabajo de las manos de David, de los brazos de David. Es como si ella hubiese puesto labios, labios, boca, lengua, labios, palabras, y él estuviese hablando ahora de manera distinta con sus brazos y con sus manos.
So now, yeah, it's like Valerie has encouraged David to talk with his hands and to be more eloquent with his hands. So he's developing a whole thing with the arms and hands, from what I
And I also want to say that in this dance, there's also a lot of use of sign language, and that's been a new challenge for me. And I also think it's very interesting because in my work in general, I've always used a lot of work of gesture and hands and arms. I find the hands so expressive. So it's always been in my work, but this is like a very specific way of using the hands and making gestures. So I've enjoyed like the challenge of bringing the sign language into the work and seeing how that it's not just sign language, but that there's a whole dance within the sign language, and just in making it into a dance as well. So that's been an interesting challenge.
Para todos.
Nice. Now, concerning this topic of sign language and gestures in dance, we already talked with Laisvie in our interview that we did some weeks ago a little bit. So if you want to know more about that, I very much recommend to watch this video. And right now, I would like to go into some of our questions that are popping up here in the chat. And there's a lot of people saying what a beautiful work and vision, and I completely agree. And here's one question of how Corona is affecting things at the moment, as people are interested in where they can enjoy the work that you are doing. And there is, of course, the stage work that you're doing, but there is more to it. So I think, Laisvie, if you want to tell more about that, that would be really great.
Yeah, so now we are doing the residency specifically with Valerie, but Ira is a dance work that is going to be conformed by 3 parts. So it's a triptych dance, and we are going to have 3 choreographers working for each part. One is Valerie, the other one is Diana Leon, who is the artistic director of Con Cuerpos, and we're going to say hello to her in a couple of minutes. And the other choreographer is me. So we are going to have 3 different residencies, and the 3 of us, we are going to create a short piece, but is going to be with the same company, with the same language, trying to address the same topic, but from different angles. And that's the whole piece. What we are doing is that we are following this process. It's going to be 8 months working, and we are following this process with a documentary made by Camila Malaver, which is a great video artist from Bogota. And she's creating a documentary series. So every month we are creating a documentary showing how the process is going, showing the different stages, the different residencies, and we can you can watch those series, those chapters of the documentary via Patreon. So we launched a Patreon campaign, and people who support us via Patreon can have exclusive access, can get exclusive access to this documentary series, which is also like a new concept that we are trying. So in this piece, we are trying many new things. First, this language of universal accessibility, which was what Valerie was talking about. So the 3 choreographers, we have the same challenge. We, as Con Cuerpos, we want to make a piece that not only includes artists with and without disabilities on stage, but we also want to make a piece that is accessible for a bigger audience. Because so far we have not addressed that. And I think that's a very important part, how to be accessible, how to make the work accessible, like to make a rounded project. So the 3 of us, we are thinking of how to include the sign language, how to include audio descriptions for people that can't see, how to integrate maybe subtitles in a poetic manner via video projection. So we are trying to come up with a language, with an artistic language that includes these elements. So they are not like a specific aid for the specific population, but they are like embedded in what we do. And hopefully we can use this artistic language for the other pieces that we're going to create in the future. So the documentary also has that challenge, how to make a documentary that is also accessible. So it's going to have subtitles, both in English and Spanish. It's going to have sign language interpretation for the people in Colombia. We're going to try to use the voice, the narrator voice, as a way that it also describes the images, so people that can see also get a lot of information from the audio. So it's a big project, and we have a web page, concuerpos.com. Everything is there. We have the Patreon page, and yeah, we're looking for supporters that can be with us in the long term. So not to have a donation once, but trying to follow the whole process and try to support this big effort that we're doing. And regarding where you can see what we are doing, we have different venues for this part of the piece, the part that Valerie is creating. They are going to premiere next Friday, 9th of April, in Bogota, in El Teatro El Parque. Theater, the park is in the National Park in Bogota. It's going to be at 5 p.m. Colombian time.
Suddenly sounds very soon.
Yes.
It is scared them.
Next Friday, yes. And then the part of Diana is also going to have the pre-premiere there in that same theater, the 5th of June. And then I will go, and then we will do the big premiere en el Teatro Julio Mario Santo Domingo. These are theaters in Bogota, with a short also pre-premiere in La Javeriana University. Yeah, so it's a big thing. Maybe it's a lot of information, so you can go to our webpage and everything is there, quite clear.
So, but if you're in Bogota next Friday, you can see the piece live and then see all the pieces in August.
Nice. And in case you're
But
not in
you
Bogota,
but
then
you,
the videos.
oh,
Yeah, if you're not in Bogota, you can follow our documentary,
Yes.
which is going to be very beautiful. Maybe we can share a little bit of the first chapter, because
Yes, we can
Captain
do that.
Lavi has exclusive access to this first chapter. So maybe we can watch a little
Yes.
bit. The
And we
first
can
chapter
switch
is
over.
about, yes,
And
the first chapter is about a laboratory that we did, exactly to research about this universal accessibility notion.
yeah.
So you can see a little bit of how we're working.
Nice.
So yeah, this is chapter number 1. And yeah, we decided that the whole documentary is going to be black and white, and it's going to also include short video dances. So each dancer is going to create a short video dance for each chapter. This is Diana, the artistic director, and Lorena, who is another dancer, and she's also a sign language interpreter. You can see Laura here, the other dancer.
También estamos explorando usar la lengua de
Nice.
señas como motor de movimiento, hacer
Now,
descripciones.
Laisvie, you have to tell me how much of this first chapter we can show, so you can tell stop at any moment.
Yeah, maybe we give a little bit more, a little bit more. Because yeah, maybe it would be nice if we can hear from you guys in Colombia. How is the situation with COVID, and how are you dealing with that? Because we are doing everything, but I don't know, how do you feel there? And sometimes you have to wear the face mask, and yeah.
well, I can say that we've somehow created a very careful container of trust in the handful of us that are together, because at some point it just became hard to be working in the mass, to hear each other, to understand each other. I have 2 translators, which is, thank God for them, very integral in the process of helping complicated things be translated. And so we have a kind of a team of people where, you know, I've been clear in saying that I'm here alone. I go to the apartment, I'm alone, and I'm doing this and not wearing masks. So we've, you know, kind of made this agreement that, you know, we're more or less not in the mask, but working together in a very close way. So, you know, it's a little maybe scary, but this is what we're doing. As you see, we're sitting here together.
Yes.
I don't know, do you guys want to say something?
After the past year, when everybody was working through the Zoom, through the computer, being touching and working together is so great. Is um, very thankful.
Yeah.
You know, it's very nice being
Mm.
in touch with people and not working through Zoom. It's very
Yeah,
nice.
that's
Yeah.
a good point. It's not that we're just not wearing the mask. They're really touching each other and rolling on top of each other. It's much more. It's very touchy.
También lo que sucede un poco con la máscara es que Valerie necesita que la emoción vaya de los pies a todo el cuerpo. Y ella está con nosotros en el gesto y en el rostro y los dientes y los labios y cómo es. Entonces, ella necesita mirarlo todo.
Yeah. So Ilse is saying that Valerie is working with the emotion from toes to head. And she's also looking at the gesture and the tongue and the teeth and everything. So it was very uncomfortable to work with the mask. So at the end, I decided to take it out. And I think that's a good idea. And I guess you are creating your own bubble, right? A little bubble, and you are staying only between yourselves. And that's what we can do. Yeah.
Nice. Now,
No, sorry,
go for it.
just David mentioned that he was also tired of working through Zoom because actually last year we
I was
worked the
about to
whole
say.
year via Zoom. Yes?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
We in Con Cuerpos, we made a piece of work. How do you say? Dos tercios y un baño.
Two-thirds and a bathroom is the name
There's
of
in a
the.
bathroom that was a piece of all of dancers working from our bathrooms. And yeah, it was very fun. But very fun, very nice piece, but it's much better work in presence. Yes.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so maybe we can share a little bit of that.
Yes, I'm loading it
So
up right
Diana,
now.
the artistic director, she directed a piece for Zoom. I was a little bit helping them with these ideas of using technology to keep creating. And then we had a piece before in 2019 about stories of our stories of related to the bathrooms, because we have funny and crazy stories related to bathrooms, because bathrooms are almost never accessible. So we always need to be very close to each other to go to the toilet. And we have funny and crazy stories about that. So we created a piece. And in 2020, well, we saw the opportunity to do that piece, to adapt that piece for for the telematic dance, for to do it online, and to dance actually from the bathrooms.
Yeah.
So here you can see a little bit of the how was the piece created and performed. They were in their houses dancing from the bathrooms, right, guys? Yeah, we also
It's
became masters of Zoom.
yes, I was about to say
Like the rest of the world.
exactly. But as well to take this opportunity of okay, the entire world suddenly was less accessible for everyone because of the whole COVID, and to use this context of showcasing how not accessible the world actually is for people with disabilities all of the time, I think really makes a beautiful point. And in this case, then as a company to still work and to use this moment in time to create this video performance that it is, I think it's beautiful and it's really great. And
Oh, thank you, Jay.
this topic, I mean, we talked about it as well in the interview we did some weeks ago concerning the struggles of inclusivity. And there, I don't know if you know it, David, but Laisvie also shared a little bit about a travel that you did to Rotterdam when you came to visit Laisvie, and the struggles you were encountering there in a country that is saying of itself that it's quite accessible, and but in reality things are looking quite different, and there is still this second level and layer in society created that there is ramps and stuff, but through hidden doors, and you're constantly depending on other people, so you're still not having an independent lifestyle possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I just like, yeah. Well, sorry, it's asking me about my trouble to visit. Ah, okay, yeah. Well, I don't know. I really want to travel. Always I want to travel. I have an accident while I'm travel. Yeah, is that correct?
When I was traveling,
When
yeah.
I
Yes.
was traveling, and I really scared to travel alone after the accident, but I mm, full of courage and went to and traveled to Europe to
Mm.
3 months and
Alone.
to alone. Yes, yes, and to from Barcelona, sorry, from Madrid to or until Istanbul, and it was very fun because Europe is is very important place in the world and in the history and in the thinking. Uh, but at the same time, it's a place to a moment for me to be alone in a new place every day. You
Yeah.
know, here in Bogota, I know my apartment. I know the ways to go to my apartment, the way to come here to the safe space.
To the studio.
Mm.
Yes, but Europe was very different because it's an old continent
Yes.
and it has a lot of problems of accessibility and like the trains
Mm.
is very weird because the trains is not accessible in a lot of countries and and Europe has a lot of I don't know how to say in English, but adoquín.
Like the street have stones, stone
Ah,
roads.
yes.
A lot of
Cobblestones.
yeah, and that is
Yeah.
very uncomfortable. But it's very
Uncomfortable.
Yeah. Of
uncomfortable
Mm.
to the wheelchair.
course.
But at the same time, is other, another kind of life, another
Yeah.
very good kind of life. And be with life specifically was very amazing because I can see his work in his
Hair.
master, her work, sorry, and I can mm, be in touch with her because when I entered to Con Cuerpos, she traveled to Europe. So always we have a touch or contact through Zoom or to to
Yeah.
not personally, you know.
Yes.
It was very very good.
Nice. Now there's some other questions here. And there's one question: if I want to support Dan, where can I do that? We kind of answered it already a little bit. So if you want to support this project of ConCuerpos and all the work they are doing, then there is their Patreon page. I can open this for a moment again. So there you can see the Patreon page of ConCuerpos, and as well, if you like to support what we are doing here as Capitala V, you can support us, of course, as well. But the focus today is definitely on ConCuerpos and their work. Then there is one other question here. Somebody writes, I have a friend that lost a leg 6 months ago, and I think your work will inspire him to move again. Could you give him any advice? I think that's a beautiful question to dive into and to consider. So, as you guys are the experts of inclusive work, and so what would you recommend someone to keep moving and to keep staying active?
Well, I would say that first take the time to fully
Mm.
recover. So for
Yes.
us, it's very clear that we don't work with people that are injured.
Yeah.
That sometimes people have this misconception that because you use a wheelchair or yeah, you are injured, and we don't work with injured people. I think if you're injured in any way, you
Mm.
need to recover and do therapy and do the things that you need to do to first fully recover. And when when you are already feeling in your body again, when you are ready to accept your new body, um, and you're fully healthy, then you can come and then you can experiment dance and sports and other activities. So for sure, don't stop using your body and being creative with your body. And this is not a stop for sure. You just have a new body, and
Yeah,
it's going to be amazing. All the things that you can do, also.
exactly.
That would be my advice. I don't know, David, that you went through an accident. Maybe you want to share something.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe have a great attitude. I think that is that is the most important thing, and be try to be open. Try
Mm.
to try something. Try don't be fair. Don't be fearless. Don't be fair.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid
Mm.
to try new things
Nice.
and enjoy. Try to enjoy.
Yes,
Es cierto.
we'll have a new bud capabilities now. And I think the point that you just made, Leslie, concerning injury as well, is that having an injury is something very different from having a disability. It's an injury is okay, something is not working, but it will heal again. And a disability is just something different. There is nothing broken in that sense, but it's just a different body that is functioning differently and is not anything less than what we so commonly often assume as the status quo, the normality. But there is more than that and different possibilities. And
Exactly.
yes, and
That becomes your normality after a while. So
yes,
yeah,
and through that as well, a lot of new different possibilities.
for sure, for sure. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Um, and I think with that, we are slowly coming towards an end. Also, as you in Colombia need to get back to rehearsals, so we don't
Yeah.
want to keep you too much longer. But I'm looking right now if there's other questions still in the chat that we could go into. So if
I
anyone has
would
something,
like to,
yes,
if
please,
it's possible, I would like to
definitely.
invite the rest of the team there, because
Yes,
now you only see three people, but they're a big team. So we
yes.
have Diana Leon, who
There's
is the
more people.
director, my partner in crime. She's the one that makes everything possible. The dreams that I have here. She is the leader there of the group. And then we have Luis David, who is the light designer and artistic art designer. And then we also have Sebastian and Angelica. They are dancers from La Javeriana University, and they are doing an internship now with Con Cuerpos, and they are helping a lot, right?
Yes.
They're doing a great job. So yeah, this is the big team, and we are still missing Rene, which is the composer, who is the composer. So it's a big team behind. And also, just to let you know, guys, that the company actually has 6 dancers. For Valerie, we chose only 2 because it was such a short time and it was easier to make a duet. But the company actually has other 4 dancers that are also amazing. And if you follow our documentary, you're going to learn more about them as well.
Nice, beautiful. Nice. In that case, we are slowly coming towards an end then. And I would just like to repeat once more where people can find you, and that is your website of concuerpos.com, where you can find all of the information about the current process, about the other dancers as well. The website is both in English and in Spanish. Translation is perfectly fine on its way. I had a look at it earlier, and you get so much information. So that's great. And then, of course, there is the Patreon page. If you want, and I hope you want, to support ConCuerpos in their mission of creating inclusive dance, both for the dancers as well as for an audience, which is a very important and big step, I think, to add towards this whole scene. In that case, I want to say thank you very much to you, Laisvie, but as well to the whole team that is there in Bogota in Colombia right now. And I'm super grateful that we found the time for this live stream. And I very much hope that the rest of the creation will still be very nice. And I hope to hear back from you guys in between here and there, and to stay updated as well, and to keep sharing the work that you are doing and showing some snippets here and there. That would be nice. Great.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
Thanks to you. In that case, I will say goodbye to you guys and switch over into this view over here. And now I take the moment to say goodbye to all of you watching the live stream right now. And thank you for taking the time and watching this live stream. I hope you had fun. And I hope it was interesting for all of you to listen and hear about ConCuerpos and their mission and their company. As I said, there is a lot more information about them on their website. If you want to stay more updated on the creation, then follow them on Patreon and become a supporter of theirs. It's for the simple price of paying somebody a coffee a month. You can start supporting this wonderful project, and the more people support it, it will really help them. And also, small amounts already make a big difference. That much from my side. I hope you enjoyed. And we will see us again on Sunday with another Humans Behind Art episode with Albert Galindo, a dancer that you might have heard before in one of our other episodes, as Joanna Millet was mentioning him during our interview, and we got him as a guest. So look forward to that on Sunday. For the rest, look up all the other interviews and work that we did together with Laisvie and ConCuerpos already. There's a lot of more info. So yeah, that's about it. I wish you a beautiful rest of the evening, and see you soon.